George Displaced. Written by Spider's Accident. Chapter 2. As the cobblestone floor crumbles beneath you, you find yourselves trapped deep under the sewers of Freeport, in the mysterious underground labyrinth from ages gone past. This is the den of monsters and the final resting place of many an adventurer. Carved stone spires and Byzantine ruins stretch out into the azure fog, illuminated by fire spiders and dungeon moss. The ground crunches underhoof, and you smell the musk of gold and death. Nearby, you see a chest hanging from out of the fog, held by a mass of spiked chains and old bones that rattle in the warm underground wind. Bloomberg the Dryad, Will-o-wisps the grayish blue, and, what's your name, dude? Spike said. King Darkness, George said, looking at the person. What class and race are you? So far, Applebloom is a Dryad Druid, Button Mash is another wizard, so human. Button Mash snorted. Spike rolled some dice, flipping through his DM tome. Bloomberg the Dryad, Will-o-wisps the grayish blue, and King Darkness, you've all been cast into the caverns by mayoral edict for the alleged crimes of piracy. By ancient law, if you can escape, then you have earned your freedom. Of course, no one's ever escaped before. I cast Revive on the skeleton intertwined with a treasure chest and chains, George said. Okay, roll intelligence plus magic, Spike said. George grabbed a pile of dice, splattering them over the table. 13 successes, George said. Spike looked up from his manual. King Darkness casts Revive. The skeleton intertwined with the spiked chains and treasure chest glows with divine glimmering light. Flesh and blood weaves itself around the skeleton's body, revealing the newly formed body of a stallion with a black mane, gray coat, and amber eyes that fill with fear and pain. The spikes of the chains pierce his body, and the treasure chest next to him opens, revealing itself to be a mimic with a mouthful of spiked, jagged teeth. Button Mash raised a hoof.
I cast Teleport to save the guy.
The room flashes with light, and The room flashed with violet light, and Twilight appeared, a tray of steaming muffins held in her teeth.
Hey kiddos, I made some muffins. How's your game going?
The pastry tray clattered to the floor, and Twilight spoke with smiling, gritted teeth.
Spike, dearie, little guy, my little scoop of joy. Who is this enormous stranger, and why is the floor all scratched up? What did you do to the wardrobe? That was an antique!
Twilight's eye twitched, and she teleported feet in front of George, gazing at him with a manic grin.
And what is your name, Mr.
Twilight blinked, eyeing George up and down.
Spike, is that a dragon? You invited a dragon into our home and didn't think to tell me?
Her horn lit up, summoning a plethora of pens, notepads, rulers, and calipers.
This is so exciting! Tell me, Mr. Dragon, what region of the Dragonlands are you from? Are you from a member of the Terrestrium Drago family, or have your wings not grown in yet? Are you a purely Lapis Mandicari gem eater, or are you capable of consuming plants and meat? Are you a male or a female dragon? Oh my gosh, I've been calling you Mister all this time!
Twilight started scribbling furiously in her notepad with quill and ink, magically measuring George with rulers and calipers. George said, stuttering and looking at the floor. Twilight's bright magenta eyes shone.
Oh, I didn't know there were dragons with Cohesion linguistics. The only clicking style languages I've heard were from the Desert Pony tribes,
Twilight said. She inhaled, raising her hoof, and extended it towards the spiked behemoth.
Ubani Igamalako,
Twilight said, uttering the phrase with flawless accent. The dragon continued to stare at the floor, dodging her gaze. George said, breathing heavily. Button Mash raised a wiggling hoof.
His name's Bowser, no more bedtimes,
Button Mash said. Mom, we're trying to play a game, Spike said.
Can I roll to cast Entangle on the treasure chest monster?
Applebloom said, rolling dice in her hooves. George looked at the vibrant gaggle of colored creatures and retreated into his shell. Ceasing current engagement in a social ritual maneuver, George said, pain in his voice. Applebloom waddled towards the hermitous mass.
Twilight, you scared him,
Applebloom said, prodding the large shell with a hoof.
I think he has Anxiety,
Applebloom said, quietly. Applebloom, dragons can spell, Spike said.
I know that,
Applebloom huffed. The floor vibrated, and a great loud snoring emanated from the pile of George, causing the pony's teeth to chatter. Scarlet smoke bloomed from the holes of George's shell, wafting over the ceiling. Twilight looked out the window. Luna's moon rose in the sky, bonking Celestia's sun out of the way, and the sky filled with stars. Twilight turned to the children.
Spike, you're going to have to continue your game another time. I'm going to stay down here and record data on this new species of Draconid. Apple Bloom, Button Mash, it's too late for you to go home alone, so I'll be sending you there now. But we ain't even gotten that far with it. We were just starting. And besides, I ain't even tired.
Apple Bloom said, yawning. Don't bother, Apple Bloom. One of our players is asleep, and we can just continue next week. I need more time to plan the game anyway, and it looks like Twilight's in one of her study moods, Spike said, sneering. Twilight's horn lit up, dual layers of magic sparking over each other. In a flash, Button Mash and Apple Bloom were gone. Spike waddled up the stairs, scowling and mumbling. Twilight looked up from her notes.
Spike, take a letter,
Twilight said. Spike climbed down the stairs, grabbing parchment and quill.
Dear Princess Celestia, I have very exciting news. Spike invited a dragon to our home and established friendly relations. The dragon is from... Spike, where did this person come from? Did they arrive recently? I can't imagine he's been here a while.
Twilight said. I ain't got a clue, Spike said bitterly.
Is from an as-of-yet undetermined location. I will be traveling to Canterlot tomorrow, and if he's okay with it, I'll bring him with. I have to get some books from the Royal Canterlot Archives anyway. Ooh, I should try to find some on esoteric dragon species. I've never seen a breed like this before. Sorry, I'm rambling. Spike, don't put that in the letter. Anyways, I should arrive at about noon tomorrow by wagon. Hoping to spread the magic of friendship, Twilight Sparkle.
Twilight trotted over to Spike, who burned the letter with green fire, making it turn to etheric smoke as it flew out the window. She lifted his drooping body with her magic, dumping it into his basket.
Good night, Spike. I'm going to stay downstairs and study in case the dragon wakes up. Or as you kids call it, woke.
A disturbed noise came from the mouth of the baby dragon, and Twilight trotted downstairs. George awoke, sliding his enormous eyelids open like fans. He reared up, staring around the room. A blanket clung to his spiked shell, drooping over the floor. A fire crackled nearby, illuminating the purple pony who had established a disturbing vocal contact from before. Her sleeping body lay curled in front of the fireplace, surrounded by a plethora of books that lay splayed open before her. Looking down, he saw a note before him written with immaculate penmanship. He struggled to pick it up with his pointed claw, paper staying resolutely on the ground. He slumped down, peering at the paper.
Hello, Mr. or Mrs. Dragon. My name is Twilight Sparkle. I understand you are new to this land, and I would like to greet you as the humble ambassador of friendship. I saw that you are having difficulty communicating in Ponaic language, and in my experience, it is always easier to understand a new language through written format. So on to my main point. Will you grant me the honor of joining me tomorrow on a trip to Canterlot in the royal capital of Equestria?
George stood up, claw marks gouging the wooden floor. He lumbered towards the purple mare, prodding at her with an enormous claw. Her eyes fluttered open. Hey, yeah, okay, sure, that's fine, I'll go, let's go, George said, attempting a normal volume.